I'm really like, I've never been in a relationship where we've intentionally sought God together. Like, I got baptized. I never even understood what it was until now. And, once I got baptized, it just changed everything. Like, I realized that the things that I was doing in my past was, like I said, validation, but it was always God. And when I really sit back and look, like, he kept me in a lot of situations. He saved my life in a lot of situations. And he really just sat there and just covered and protected me. Or he used to always do little things to get my attention, which I seen it, but I never understood it until now. I don't think y'all understand why people talk about God and Jesus so much as they do now after they get baptized. But all I can say is try it for yourself. Like, really get on your knees and be like, God, I want to change. I want something to shift. Like, and you pray that, like, God, he'll make it work. He'll do it. He'll change it quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Hey y'all. Long time no see. But I am your host, Chasity K, and this is Project Oldest Daughter Podcast. And this is episode 4. And I'm just excited to talk about this because the title, which is living in your 20s, being single, and just figuring things out alone. So before we get into this podcast, I want to remind y'all to like, comment, share, and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. Give us a 5-star rating, review on Apple and Spotify podcasts, and make sure you all turn on your notifications so you're notified every single time that we upload a video. I forgot to turn off my refrigerator. Hold on. I'm back. That's handled. So today I wanted to do something a little bit different for episode 4, which is just to come on talking to y'all naturally. No scriptures today, just me talking about my experiences and things that I've seen and things that I've gone through living in my 20s. So if y'all don't know, I am 24 years old. I was raised in Macon, Georgia, which is about an hour and 15 minutes away from Atlanta with no traffic. If it's traffic, I can't tell you, but I'll be 25 this year, and of course, some of y'all might not follow me on my social media, but I did a whole transition of just giving my life back to Christ because I didn't really know who God was for myself. I'm a PK kid, as y'all have heard in some of my other episodes, and being a preacher's kid, it did come with a lot of pressure, but it was like I didn't understand it for myself. I thought it was just a bunch of hooting and hollering, and they was just talking to like this invisible person, and they was like just acting crazy for no reason. I didn't understand it until God called me back. And I would say God called me back in 2023 when I was in undergrad, and I was just tired of like the same thing. I was tired of the smoking, I was tired of the clubbing, I was tired of the drinking, I was tired of the fornicating, which I kind of did it, but I started to see a change where I slowly, gradually just started like pulling back from all of it. And of course, like I felt short. Of course, now I am abstinent because I realized I was abstinent or let me just say I was celibate at that time. I was celibate because in my mind, like, okay, the right person come around, but no, you stay celibate, abstinent until God is in it and God confirms like this is the person that you're going to be with. So I was doing a lot of things wrong in that area. I was smoking since I got into undergrad. When undergrad hit, it was on and off of me smoking. But then when COVID hit in 2020, I was smoking every single day all the way up until 2022. Because this year, 2026, makes it almost 2 years now since I've been completely sober from weed. And I was, also showing my body on the internet. There's some of them with thirst traps, posting things on my spam accounts that I shouldn't have, or just doing it for the wrong things or trying to get like that attention, because I was seeking validation in the wrong way from the wrong people and doing the wrong things. So that eventually stopped as well. Of course, like that clubbing and drinking, I was over that by the time I was a sophomore in college. So that had to be, 2021. I was over it by then. Like starting 2020, going into 2021, I was over drinking. I didn't stop smoking, of course, until almost 2 years ago. But yeah, that's just like my story. And I think I fell into cultural norms because culture do try to make it seem like these things are normal, like showing your body is empowerment because you're the one, showing your body. Or like, no one can tell me like I'm in control, or saying like, oh, that's beautiful, which is beautiful to see the nakedness of someone, but it doesn't mean physical nakedness. And that is what's like is up under, how can I put it? That's what's like rooted in covenant. You see the nakedness of someone beyond the physical. Like that's how raw that you have to be. And I think that culture is trying to like mix nakedness and being powerful with showing your body on the internet with that, which is kind of twisted. But I think I fell into showing my body on the internet when something traumatic happened to me when I was younger, and I didn't realize where deeply rooted it was coming from until I came out about a few things, and I just had to sit with myself. And of course, like, God just kept doing the inner work with me. I'm not going to say too much on that situation because I'm not ready to share that with the world. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you've heard it, but I'm not just going to like come out and just fully say it because I'm not ready. Not ready yet. But also going into living in my 20s, I want to ask y'all, like, what is the root reason of why people think it's okay to say, oh, you can't marry young, but they're normalizing having a kid young? Like, that's the biggest commitment ever in life, because say you and your husband or you and your wife doesn't work out, y'all still have that long time commitment. That's a child. You have to love somebody so much to put your body through pain, and you go through everything, and you share your life with not just your partner but with your kid as well. And just normalizing like, oh, you're too young. Like, how am I too young to be married, but I'm not too young to have a kid? Like, make that make sense. I'm so confused on why people are making a kid commitment less thereof to a marriage when it takes just as the same amount of equal work. Like, I never understood that. I'm just so confused about it. And I'm like, huh? Like, make it make sense. Like, I'm really just so confused on that. And also just like living in your 20s, trying to figure it out with me having 2 degrees under my belt. I'm either overqualified or underqualified for a lot. And thank God I had a mom who allowed me to stay in her house as long as I have. If I still wanted to be there, I would be there. But of course I would be working and stuff. But it's just like, people try to normalize this glitz and glam lifestyle of like being in your 20s, and it kind of sucks because it's like, that's not reality. Like, the reality is I'm out here looking for jobs. The reality is I didn't have it all figured out. The reality is, you have to have experience going into this world doing any and everything. And a lot of times people don't want to let you in the door because they're intimidated by you, or they don't think you're qualified for, or they don't want to take a chance to train you or put you on or put you into the information. So I just never understood this world when it comes to, I guess you could say, like, career wise or education wise. Living in your 20s, if you go to college, you put yourself in debt, or if you don't go to college, you either go to a trade school or you go work a 9 to 5, and like that's all you know, like your whole life. And even just being in your 20s, there's so much accessible things on the internet that it sucks. I feel like being born to the 2000s, it put us who are in our 20s now in a tough spot, because I remember them like big block TVs. I remember iPods or the cassettes, or having flip phones, or having phones that had keyboards. You had that little one screen, the Obama phones. Like, the Obama phones used to play them little games with, like, that stuff. Everything wasn't accessible. Like, back in the day, they had to write letters. They had to go meet people in person. They had to follow maps. And everything is just so accessible, and this world is just lustful and just think that what they see is theirs. And it creates a lot of, like, envy, jealousy, and just, like, people want to put on this persona, which I feel like I've fallen victim to, or been a part of it myself, because it came a time where I just thought I had to be this perfect person, when that's when I realized that, like, you don't have to be perfect. God doesn't want perfect. He just really wants you to come as you are and continue to seek him in the things that you do, regardless of you sinning, and just flee from it. Like, don't continue doing the same things. So that's what it boiled down to, me just doing that, and then just realizing, like, it's so much more out here to life than just what is on the internet. Like, you have to live in the moment. Put your phone down sometimes. Sometimes it's okay to not record or post every single thing. And I think I've also been a victim to the internet, because now when I've been taking, like, social media breaks, I'm okay with not being on there. I'm okay not posting everything. And I feel like I've always kind of been a guarded person since childhood, because, I'm the oldest. It was just me all the time. I feel like I had to depend on myself. I didn't feel like I can talk to my parents because they can't relate to me. And it's like, go do a kid thing and let us do grown up things. Or, it was like them, having their own life, or me doing that, like, get good grades, go to class, be there on time, don't talk back to the teachers, don't get in any fights, So I grew up basically, like, meeting this standard to my parents, to where I thought I had to meet a standard to the internet. And it's like, no, I am a beautiful woman who just likes to take beautiful pictures, but in that, there could be some type of, like, line that I need to just cut off. And then getting into singleness, like, just being single, y'all, is not for the joke, especially being abstinent. I think people misconstrue that because you're abstinent that you don't like sex. Like, that's beyond the fact. Like, when I'm ovulating, like, yes, the hormones, and then I got PCOS, and then, like, everything else just collide. It's just like, get off the internet. You don't need to be looking at that stuff. You don't need to be looking at men, posting things of, lustful things. Like, I think there's a double standard when it comes to men wanting to say women should be modest, but men can be modest too. They're always showing off their chest or their V-line cuts or their pecs, and then, you got the women that shows, like, the butt, the breast, the whatever, which I know, like I say, I used to do that. So, nobody can judge me but God, and I will put my business out there before I let anyone else do it. But, just falling victim to that. And when being single and abstinence, I think a lot of people just look at my Instagram or whatever, look at my social media and just be like, oh, she's pretty, oh, she got it together, oh, she's in physical therapy school, oh, she's this, oh, she's that. But it's like, what do you see past my face? What do you see past the things that I am being guided through with the help of God? What do you see past that? Like, do you know me? You don't. You haven't really tried to get to know me because they can't see past the physicality or meeting this status quo or checking boxes. And it's like, I'm not that girl you check no box with. So I would cut somebody off quick, fast, in a hurry in a minute. I don't play them games. Like, I feel like growing up, to an extent, I did run a strict program. Like, when it came to like dating people, of course, I've had my moments where I've fallen or just be like, okay, like, what's up? But I've ran a strict program. And even I had to check my attitude because I used to hear a lot of people like, oh, Chad, like, you crazy, or oh, Chad, you mean. And then some instances, I think I just come out super aggressive, which I can work on that. But other instances, I feel like because I am just so truthful and forthcoming that they think it's a game. They think it's a joke. And they want to say, oh, you mean because they didn't get what they want. And it's just like, okay, so be it. And it kind of just sucks being single. Let me not say it sucks because it really doesn't. Because when you're single, this is the time where you really seek God and really just focus on Him and really just, like hone in and tone into who He is and build your own relationship, and everything else will follow. Like, pray before you go and do anything. Don't try to come take God with you once you're there, because if that's not what He wants for you, it's just not going to work, period. So the best thing you can do is just bring God into it beforehand, not after the fact or thereof. And everything else will be okay. But also just being single in 20, and wanting marriage, I feel like the dating pool is scarce because this is hookup culture. And was I a part of that? Not necessarily. I really wasn't a part of hookup culture. And I think I fell victim to being loyal, right off the bat. Or not looking at the men that I was talking to as just like brothers in Christ. I had to realize that, like, making sure that these men that say, oh, they're Christian, like, do you got a relationship with God? Do you go to church? And not even do you just go to church, because not everybody in church is a person of God. Like, the church is a hospital for the sinners. The church is the hospital for everybody to come lay everything down. And there's a spiritual realm that breaks or, leaches onto and, fall off in church. And, just making sure that they have their own prayer life and just making sure they have discipline when it comes to temptations and when it comes to things that they want. Do they have discipline to sit down with themselves and God and just be like, surrender? Like, I don't want anyone who can't surrender themselves to God, because it's like, what can you do for me? Where are you leading us? Where are you taking us? I'm not no girl that just go with the flow. These men that I've talked to before that just go with the flow, it's just like, no. These men that just be like, oh, I want to put a baby in you. It's like, no. Do you really think that's attractive? Do you really think that I want to sit right here and talk to you sexually off rope and aggressively? That might turn some people on, but not me. And having this talk last night at this church that I've been going to, it's called Christian Life Austin, and they have a young adult service every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And one of the topics that we talked about last night in this thing called After Dark is a relationship series, and just getting a little bit more deeper into relationships and how they should be holy. The first topic, we talked about purity, and purity just is basically like what's in the heart. It's not just so like you're not smoking, you're not having sex, you're not drinking. That's not all that purity is. It's like within your heart posture. Like, and last night they talked about sex sales, and one of the things that he talked about was how porn is abusive or super aggressive to women. Like, you got the choking, you got the slapping, you got the getting trains ran on and stuff like that. and how, lust is one of the like most susceptible things to this world because it has a instant quickness and gratification to it. But then like after that, what is there? And I realized, like I said, a lot of my sexual things came from trauma, or things that I've experienced, or like dynamics that I've had growing up with my parents. And I'm just like, dang, like that's really truthful when you really sit back and think about it. The conversation got into a little bit more detail, but I'm not gonna go, all the way into it. But I just wanted to come on here and just talk about that because being single, it has its benefits. You don't have to worry about anyone else but, yourself and God. But also it's like, it do get to a point where you're lonely, and I feel like just to feel and know the beautiness of what it would be to be loved so much as God loves me, like, why wouldn't I want to share that? Who wants to be on this earth alone? Like I always say, life was built on love. This universe, this earth was built on love. And it's like, you want to make sure that you're with someone, sharing it, and just multiplying and adding to the world that God has created. He wants us to see the beauty in it. And there is beauty, but you got to make sure you're doing it right with the Creator, which is the Father, Jesus Christ. And I just want to make sure that, I'm doing it. I'm trying to do it right. I'm really like, I've never been in a relationship where we've intentionally sought God together. Like, I got baptized. I never even understood what it was until now. And, once I got baptized, it just changed everything. Like, I realized that the things that I was doing in my past was, like I said, validation, but it was always God. And when I really sit back and look, like, He kept me in a lot of situations. He saved my life in a lot of situations. And He really just sat there and just covered and protected me. Or He used to always do little things to get my attention, which I seen it, but I never understood it until now. I don't think y'all understand why people talk about God and Jesus so much as they do now after they get baptized. But all I can say is try it for yourself. Like, really get on your knees and be like, God, I want to change. I want something to shift. Like, and you pray that, like, God, He'll make it work. He'll do it. He'll change it quick, fast, and in a hurry. But just being in your 20s, like, you don't have to succumb to cultural. Because culture is like the topic that we talked about. One of the quotes that it was at the Christian Life Young Adult Service. And I love this quote so much. It says, "You'll find the least amount of resistance from culture, but you will always struggle to know if God approves of the relationship you are in because you're seeking the validation from the outside world." Don't succumb to the internet. Don't succumb to being jealous or envious of what you see. And another quote was, "If your relationship look like culture, don't be surprised if you end up with the consequence of culture." And that's true. Like, culture is worldly. It's of everything else. You have no protection. You're not under covenant with God. You're not under covenant with anything. And you just want to make sure that you're literally, like, doing it for Him, like nobody else. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it made sense. I know I always say that every time, but I feel like because I have so much going on in my brain that I don't put it all together sometimes. So that's why I always say that. But if y'all like this topic, let me know down in the comment section. Again, I am your host, Chasity K. This is Project Oldest Daughter, episode 4. Make sure you all follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave us a positive 5-star review. share, turn your notification on, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.